Well, I'd like to welcome our viewers. I'm Beth Kigel. I'm the President and CEO of the Northern Palm Beach County Chamber of Commerce. And our chamber is pleased today to be hosting the Attorney General for the state of Florida, Pam Bondi, who also serves on the Florida Cabinet. Pam, welcome.
Thank you.
We're so happy to have you with us.
Oh, I'm thrilled to be here, and thank you for everything you do for our business community.
Oh, you're welcome. It's a thrill for all of us. It's a passion we have to give back to the community.
That's right.
I'd like to ask you, what drove you to seek this office? I mean, you're the top law enforcement officer for the state of Florida. It's very impactful. So what drove you to seek it?
You know, it was a really tough decision because I knew as a prosecutor every day, I prosecuted for over 18 years, and I knew as a prosecutor I was helping people one-on-one. When you're dealing with victims, you know you're making a difference. So when you consider a state the size of Florida, soon to be the third largest state in the entire country, you wonder if you can really make a difference on such a huge level. Because my whole life, all you want to do, you want to help people and you want to give back. And I learned very quickly that I could. You just do it on a different level. And even when I was running in 2010, I was all over the state. And you know, I was a prosecutor for almost 20 years, and I never knew that 7 people were dying a day from prescription drug abuse. So you learn quickly that you can make a difference and you can help people on such a big scale and hopefully save kids' lives too.
Well, and on that note, because obviously you have a passion for this, what have you found to be most rewarding about this role now that you've been in it for a few years?
Well, probably what I just mentioned. I mean, we're proud of so many things, and I have an incredible staff, but we're proud of a lot of things. And one was really the war on pill mills, but that was a team effort. And you know, they had tried for 6 or 7 years to pass legislation, and when I learned we had 7 Floridians dying a day from prescription drug abuse, and that of the top 100 oxycodone dispensers, these are doctors, in the entire country, 98 of them lived in Florida. We knew we had to do something. So we worked great with the legislature and the governor, of course, and we signed into law some of the toughest legislation in the country. We're talked about now as being a model for the country regarding oxycodone and prescription drug abuse. We're so very proud of that. Of those 98 doctors, the top 198 in Florida, we're now down to 0.
That's unbelievable.
So we're proud of that. We're proud of our fight against synthetic drugs that are killing kids. We're proud of what we're doing now with human trafficking. We're proud of supporting our great businesses. We're proud of our consumer protection unit. I mean, I could go on and on, but there's so many things. I think my personal passion is protecting our kids.
Can you tell us a little bit about, you actually have task forces that are attacking these things.
Yes.
Who's involved with those?
Yes. Well, our first task force, and I can tell you, I'm not a fan of task forces. I think you can study something to death, you can create a really pretty product and put it on a shelf and be done with it. And so one of the things, after I felt, I sat down at my desk and I said, wow, you know, we're really tackling this pill mill problem. And I got a call from St. Joseph's Hospital in Tampa, where I'm from, and they said there's another problem, the babies. Babies are being born exposed to prescription drugs. So I started talking about that, and people started, of course, you know, yo, you're trying to take babies away from mothers. That's the last thing we wanted to do. We're all about saving babies and keeping babies with their moms. So I knew we had to do something, so we formed a task force. We brought everybody to the table. We brought the nurses, the doctors, our Surgeon General, we brought law enforcement, we brought the treatment providers, we put Senator Negron on there, Representative Young. We brought everybody to the table. And so we hashed it out. It wasn't even hashing it out, it was everybody just working as a team. We had 3 years to do it. We did it in 6 months, and we actually went out and implemented it. We have billboards all over the state that say, don't let your baby's life begin with detox. And thanks to Senator Negron and Representative Young and the governor, we got $8.9 million, I believe, in funding. We have over, you know, the number changes, but over 700 women in treatment beds. Can you believe that? And so, and now we have reoccurring dollars because of our success. So not only are we saving their lives, their babies' lives. So that's over 1,400 lives. Of the calls, people are actually calling into the hotline about being, you know, having babies and they're pregnant and addicted to prescription drugs. So we're helping mothers on an outpatient basis as well. So we're really proud of that. And we've also started now a council on human trafficking as well.
That's really good. And you mentioned also the importance of our children. That's a big part of what you do, and it's something that you've really taken on, how to protect children. I know you've been working on this initiative with synthetic drugs.
Yes.
And can you tell us more about that and help educate us a little bit on what those issues are? Especially, I'm a parent.
Yes.
You know, I have, my children are a little bit older, they're older teenagers, but it really helps us to be educated on what's out there and what to be on the lookout for.
And thank you for asking that, because, you know, everywhere I go, I take synthetic drug. I have them here with me. I take synthetic drug packets with me that FDLA cleaned out for me. But I take them and show parents, because this used to be legal. 4 years ago, they were selling this stuff legally. What it is, it's creative chemist in Asia. Now it's even being manufactured in Florida because it's so incredibly profitable. But what they're doing, they're creating basically from household compounds. It's called K2, spice, synthetic marijuana. Let me tell you what it really is: heroin, LSD, acid.
Frightening.
And it scares me to death. And the packaging used to be scantily clad women or bikinis or, you know, different things, the little metal packets targeting, which is just as bad, 18, 19-year-olds. Well, now they've changed the packaging. And here's some of the packaging. The packaging now, let's check this out. Look at this, Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo. This isn't going after a 19-year-old. This is going after a 12 to 14-year-old. I spoke at Moffitt Cancer Center to a large group of women. I sat back down. The woman sitting directly next to me started shaking and said her child came home with that in his backpack.
Oh my gosh. And most parents wouldn't think anything of this.
No.
Right? They think it was some candy that was...
And the frightening thing, neither were the kids, because that's the problem. Neither would the children, because they think it's candy. And a lot of times these store clerks give it out the first time because it's a hallucinogenic, it has psychotic effects. And when we started getting involved, we were scared because we had spring break coming. And you have kids in high-rises on beaches. And what's one of the side effects? You think you can fly. It's the old LSD. Look at this one. This is cleaned out. But when it was full, it's called cotton candy. And if a parent opened it, it still smells like cotton candy. It felt like cotton candy. It looked like cotton candy.
See that.
But our children were overdosing from this, left and right. And it was being sold. I sent 2 FDLE agents in the Tallahassee Mall, and they bought this stuff legally. So we knew we had to do something. People say I have this is a tremendous amount of power. It's not, it's responsibility. And I can sign an emergency order, and with the stroke of a pen, I can make something illegal until it goes through session the following year. I have never exercised that authority unless it had to do with these drugs. Because what they were doing, and that's how they were beating us in Florida, they were changing the compounds. So it was legal. We would outlaw something and they would change it. So I have outlawed by emergency order, I think, over 130 compounds. And then, of course, they pass unanimously through session each year. And now, the only way this junk is being sold is by unscrupulous store clerks under the counter. I went with Sheriff Naco recently in Pasco County, and we went on a bus, the prosecutor and me, and found it was disgusting. Behind the counter, just probably thousands of dollars of $20 bills just crammed under there from the sale of this stuff to our kids. And again, it's so highly addictive. Kids are overdosing. And when you hear these pop singers sing about something called Molly's, M-O-L-L-Y-S, Molly's, it's the purest form of ecstasy laced with synthetic heroin. So we are doing everything in our power to educate parents. And parents need to educate kids, because kids don't think that this is bad. You know, my 10-year-old nephew could look at that and go, wow, Scooby-Doo snacks, you know. And so that's the problem that we've been facing. But we will continue this fight. I called my counterpart about 4 years ago, Sam Owens, when this started in Georgia. And I said, Sam, get ready, this is going to come to Georgia. And he said, oh, Pam, we don't have a problem. Now he's calling saying, what are those compounds? So we're working very, very hard on that. And as to our neonatal abstinence syndrome that we worked on, we're so proud of, with the mothers and the babies, Tennessee, they're now using our program in Tennessee. Because 60% of the babies going through East Tennessee Hospital in Knoxville, they did a snapshot on one day, And 60% of those babies in that NICU were there because they were born exposed to oxycodone. So it's sharing it. It's not only about protecting Florida, it's about protecting our entire country.
Oh, certainly, and the education process is so important, and the fact that you were talking about mothers calling into a hotline, it's good that they know about that. So,
it is, and we're hopefully saving lives. And you know, the way everything I start, I say, if we save one life, that's doing our job, and that's why I share this everywhere I go.
Well, we appreciate your office for taking this on and helping to educate Floridians and beyond. And it sounds like we're a role model to the rest of the country, and that's very important.
Thank you.
So Pam, we are a chamber. We represent the business community and the community in general, but from a business community perspective, how do you see your role as Attorney General, or for that matter on the Florida Cabinet, impacting the business community?
Well, we want to do everything we can to protect our great business community, and we want to bring jobs to our state, and that's what our governor's all about. We want businesses. We want Florida to be the #1 state in the country where our businesses want to be. But also, in doing that, Florida has to be the safest place to work, live, and raise a family. And we have incredible schools, and we want Florida to maintain our great status as being, I'm a 4th generation Floridian, and I have no doubt in my mind that we are the best state in the country. And that's why we want to work with our businesses. We want to protect our businesses from being scammed too. And we are always out educating our chambers and our businesses about scams going on, but also wanting to make this a business-friendly climate, not only as part of the Florida Cabinet, but making it the safest place to live, work, and raise a family.
Well, thank you for that. And let me ask you another question. You know, our chamber, the Northern Palm Beach County Chamber of Commerce, we cover a pretty wide swath of territory. We have significant industries like bioscience, biotech,
Yes, thank you.
aerospace, marine, and of course, many, many small businesses. So as a business organization that engages in a lot of advocacy, how do you see the kind of impact we can have in terms of some of the policy decisions in Tallahassee?
Well, I think you do a great job of that. The Chamber has a very, very active presence in Tallahassee, and you need to continue that. You need to educate our lawmakers on what's important, and that's what you do that's why that to me is one of the most vital roles of the Chamber. Not only helping our community, giving back to our community, but educating our lawmakers on what's so very important. Because you know, the government, I don't think the government has all the answers, and they never will. And that's not what it's about. But it's about creating a fair and competitive marketplace for you to do business in our state. And that's what's such a vital role of the Chamber.
And we appreciate that dialogue very much. And as you know, in a few minutes you'll be dialoguing with some of our business leaders here in the northern part of the county. And we do work very hard for the entire business community to ensure that there's a voice in Tallahassee. And I have to say, it's been welcomed. And we do appreciate that. We know that you all are listening up there, and I want to thank you on behalf of our chamber and the business community as a whole for being receptive.
Thank you. And you know what, it's everybody working together, and that's what we do. We all work together as a team, and that's what it's all about. And that's how you accomplish things.
Okay. Well, and as we wrap up this brief interview, is there anything more that you'd like to share with us?
No, just thank you for having me, and if I could do one very short public service announcement. Parents, if you're watching this, your child has no right to privacy on the internet. And you know, with the human trafficking issue, we are learning that kids are, you know, so many of our kids, of course, they come home from school and they're living on iPads, they're living on Facebook, and they think they're talking to other children, but so often they're talking to a 60-year-old monster who's a predator and who wants to get their hands on our children. So parents, please just educate your kids, talk to them, have an open dialogue. If they meet a new friend on the internet, there's nothing wrong with that. Just go to your parent first and say, hey mom, hey dad, I don't know this new friend. Can you check them out for me? And just that tiny little thing can save lives and make a huge difference.
Well, thank you for being such a strong advocate for children and also for educating children and parents. We appreciate that very much. And General Bondi, thank you very much for spending time with our chamber and having dialogue with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.